Hello viewers, my name is Arinda Rachel from Horizon Campus of St.Lawrence Citizens High School. I'm here today with my teammates, Nahua Rosette as the first speaker, Gonza Kochida the second speaker, I the third speaker, and Arisha Batresi as the fourth speaker.
Hello, my name is Mteva Abel from St.Leo'S College Kyegobe, Fort Poto. Our first speaker is going to be Sime Benjamin. Our second speaker will be Akansara Marvin. Mutebi will be the third speaker, and Kula Eric will be our fourth speaker.
House rules. Each speaker has 5 minutes. The first and last minutes are protected. The judge will ring a bell to signal the protected time. The bell will ring continuously after 5 minutes.
The panel of judges and the August House, I greet you all. I'm the first speaker from the proposition side of the motion. This House will strictly export finished agricultural products to increase GDP. First of all, allow me start by defining the key terms in this motion. Number one, we have export. This is the sale of goods and services to another country. Then finished goods, these are goods and services that are ready for consumption. Then GDP, this is the total monetary value of all finished goods and services produced within a country's borders within a specific period of time. Then agricultural products that are exported in Uganda, we have coffee, oil, fish, and then they're exported to countries like Sudan, Kenya, Netherlands, and South Sudan. Then today in this debate, the parameter is going to be our very own country, Uganda, and then currently in Uganda, our status quo currently in Uganda, the agriculture sector contributes to about 24.1% of the GDP, and then 33% of the export earnings also come from the agriculture sector. Additionally in Uganda, the Uganda Bureau of Statistics estimates that about 70% of Uganda's population is employed in the agriculture sector. Then Uganda mostly exports agricultural products. That's 80% of the total exports, agricultural exports. And then the most important export is coffee. Number one, in our speech today, panel, we are going to show you the link. We are going to show you the link between finished products and then GDP, and then why strictly export finished products, and why do we need to increase the GDP, and how strictly exporting finished agricultural products is going to increase the GDP. First of all, the link between finished products and the GDP. Currently in Uganda, most goods that are exported, they are exported in the arrow form, like for the coffee seeds are the ones that are exported, which means they account very little of the GDP, because the GDP, when we are calculating the GDP, we calculate the final goods and services, which means if they're exported in the arrow form, they contribute less to the national income. Then why are we strictly exporting finished agricultural products? Uganda currently, we are faced with a financial crisis which needs immediate action. First of all, the World Bank withdrew its funding. Uganda has a very big debt burden, which means we have so many financial things to cater for. So by strictly exporting the finished agricultural products, we are going to increase the GDP, which in the end is going to help us to cater for our financial things.
POI.
Today we are going to stand here as the Parliament. We are going to be working with the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries, as well as the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, the Ministry of Finance as our funder, and the Uganda Exportation Board. Then why do we need to increase the GDP? As I've explained before, we need to increase the GDP to cater for the economic conditions that are in our country. We are operating on a deficit budget. That's one, which means we need to balance our expenditure and then what we are earning. Additionally, we are going to strictly export the finished agricultural products with the help of private individuals. When I would refer you to a book written by Hamis Chigundu, a city billionaire, in a book, Success and Failure Based on Reason and Reality. In his book, he advocates for the need of value addition in the agriculture sector. He advocates for value addition, and then he shows his willingness to invest in the agriculture sector, because Uganda largely depends on agriculture, and then people are ignoring the agriculture sector, which is the main source of income, which means if these people have no income, there is not going to be any revenue gotten from them. I rest my case.
Thank you very much, the panel of judges, the two antagonistic sides, and the entire house. A very good evening. Well, it has been resolved, but it is to our worry that the team affirmatives are coming in on board telling us that the team affirmatives, they are coming on board to tell us that they want to do the emphasis on the exportation strictly, and imagine the word strictly on to export finished goods. And the way they defend the word finished goods, they defend them as which are ready for consumption. But don't they know that the finished good is first undergo the process which is called processing. It first goes through an industry to be processed that can be a finished good. That is how we defend finished goods as team affirmatives. Now they come telling us on the issue of that it will help to solve the issue of financial crisis and talk of the advocacy for value addition. But by the fact that today, when we talk about the word value addition, it means that making the good more productive. If it has been cassava, maybe it is split, fried, and sold to achieve more out of it. But now, team affirmatives, they come in telling us that they're advocating for value addition, and of which exists in the country today. So we don't know what it is. No, more so, they are coming in and debating a policy resolution without a plan, without of how are they going to do to make their policy acceptable and to make their policy efficient. They don't come to show us the workability of their policy, and for that matter, therefore, we cannot go by it because yes, the agriculture contributing 24.1% to the GDP, but how do you neglect the other that contributes over 75.9? Why are you leaving it behind? We're also looking at that. What if it contributes to? If they're looking at it as the one that strictly exporting the finished products. But what about the other sources of the government revenue? Yes, agriculture contributes 33%. But what about the 67% that they're neglecting? And more so, Uganda will know today. They have said very well that 80% of the exports are raw, but now we want to know why are they raw? Because there are no industries. Why? Uganda is a developing country with these industries that does not exist in the country. So they have not brought us the whole plan how they will come on board to find that they reach an extent of it, the product being a finished one, such that it can be exported. So by that matter, therefore, is that Uganda is saying on a deficit budget. But we also want to know if they really come and say they want to export finished goods. Thank you very much. But now you first consider the price that they will sell the good and the one that is involved from the harvesting or from the planting until it is produced. If you weigh the two, really is that you notice that the profit is very negligible. And what are we advocating for as team affirmatives? We really say that we cannot strictly rely on exporting these. Rely on exporting the finished products, but otherwise we can continue exporting which are raw and which are exported hand in hand as they go on, and more so we diversify the economy, because the economy cannot rely or the GDP of the country cannot increase by mere fact that agriculture they are exporting raw products. But more so we cannot base on that fact that we are exporting strictly finished products that will be looking at solving the problem, and which the problem today we are solving is the low GDP. So we are to increase that. What are we team affirmatives come with a plan whereby we have the state general public to diversify their investments in various sectors so that can increase their GDP or their earnings. Because if my earning as a Ugandan it is happy, also the GDP of the country it is also well and fit to go. And more so, we're going to allocate more money to various sectors to empower them, such sectors which include tourism, transport, and more so if you look at the sector of services, which adds 50.3% to the GDP of the country, and we are by getting statistics from Mubos. And more so, the House should be the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.